Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Mercury in the 10th house episode. And what happens when Mercury is in your 10th house in your horoscope? Well, what is the 10th house? 10th house is a house of your career. This is why it's known as the house of Karma Bhava. It shows your reputation, your duty, and your status in life, or as in outside of your home, because it's directly opposite of the 4th house, your inner self. But this is your professional house where what are you known as, okay, and what you're here to do. It is a house of government also, and it's a house of your relationship with the father and your communication with the father and how it what really was. So Mercury comes in here. Mercury is what? Mercury is your speech. Mercury is your intelligence. Mercury is your communication skills. Mercury is your ability to analyze and logically separate certain things and how well you separate them. Mercury is also your skills, any kind of skills you have, especially the skills of writing and language. So when Mercury comes here, okay, this is one of the most powerful positions for Mercury. Why? Because Mercury is in the house of Zenith. What do you mean by Zenith? Zenith means when sun comes directly over your head, which is obviously it's not true, because only once a year sun comes directly over your head. And maybe if you're born that day with the Mercury in the 10th house, it'll be really crazy. But they just call it a Zenith position because, it's right there upon the sky, the brightest time, which is noon, in the 10th house. This is why 10th house is given that really important significance, because sun is the brightest there. Sun provides the life. So here Mercury becomes very versatile and intelligent, because here Mercury has, especially now in 2012, Mercury controls so many professions compared to any other planet out there, especially with the emergence of social media and the internet, because it's what's communication. So Mercury can here show somebody who is a journalist, who is a writer, a novelist, a columnist, and somebody who writes articles, somebody who writes coded language of computers, somebody who is an engineer, somebody who is a speech counselor, somebody who is a public speaker, somebody who is a real actual engineer, somebody who's a mathematician, somebody who's an accountant, somebody who's a businessman and entrepreneur, somebody who's an international salesman. You see how many positions Mercury controls nowadays, especially in the 10th house. And this is why it becomes a bit tough to understand what is this person doing if you're looking at going through a consultation. But the way to look at it is first look at the sign that Mercury is placed in. Because remember, in the beginning I told you, Moon and Mercury, beginning of the Mercury series, actually, if you watch, I told you that Moon and Mercury are two planets that actually it cannot be, their significance cannot be seen just by their house placement. You have to see their sign placement. Where Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, Sun can really show their significance without even the sign placement. But Mercury and Moon are those planets because they're quick-moving planets. They change really quickly, so it's really hard to determine where they're stationed, what their personality is like. And then the nakshatra where Mercury is sitting in, that also will determine the career. But looking at the 10th house of D9 and D10 chart also helps in determining the career. But, this is a lot of things at the same time. But the way you can determine it is first, again, look at the gunas of Mercury. Is it sattvic, tamasic, rajasic? Then to see what sign Mercury is placed in, earth, water, fire, or air. If it's an air or fire sign, he'll be more dynamic. He'll be more communicative. He'll be more of a writer, actor, or public speaker, or just salesman who goes out there and talks and sells things. Or he'll be out there, especially in the sign of Leo, who could be working in the government as an administrative executive, because Mercury is also managing things. It's an executive position. He's the manager out there who calculates things, makes sure everything is running properly. And if it's in the water sign, it can represent somebody who is in a medical or scientific field. Because in water sign, especially Pisces and Scorpio and Cancer can represent medical field or research in the medical field, in using intelligence to detect something in Scorpio. In Pisces, it becomes very esoteric, so spiritual and scientific at the same time. In Aquarius sign, he can become scientific. Where in the earth signs, he can become more mathematics. He can become more calculative, like an accountant, financial analyst. He can go into managerial position in the sign of Capricorn. But obviously the lordship of the houses of Mercury should be seen, what houses he's controlling in your horoscope, and then in the 10th house, and those are the qualities he'll be bringing in the 10th house. So that's how you determine it. But it's really is a very diversified position. You can be a news anchor, even actor, because Mercury is the art of mimicking. And the way you can mimic is what? When you're a comedian, ventriloquist, when you're an actor, because you're mimicking a part of life. So again, from the sign placement, you can really grasp what Mercury is doing in the 10th house. But yeah, it's a very diversified field. And this is one of the most powerful field to go into the government executive position. You may not be president or prime minister of a country, but Mercury is that executive. So you can be executive in a corporation. You can always be an executive in government, but your entire career is controlled by communication. You have to communicate, and through communication, you'll be able to go up in the hierarchy of your company, of your government job, or your business entrepreneurship. You will become a better businessman the more you communicate. And with this placement, I really recommend, so if especially in the air signs, man, communication work will be so good for you that you will see how well you do in the teamwork, how in the company the more you communicate with Mercury in this position, and the more you try to bring about reasoning for communication, it's really going to help you advance in a career. Then the relationship with the father is very communicative. Here you have that very buddy kind of relationship with the father, very just like a best friend type of relationship with a father. And your father himself could be a businessman. He could be an international, salesman. He could be a journalist. He could be a government bureaucrat, as in being in an administrative field for the government. But again, I cannot decide that because I don't know what sign or what nakshatra your Mercury is in. Once I know that, then I can determine that, okay, this is probably how your relationship is and what your father must be doing. But obviously the sun's position also mainly tells what father does. But since it's in the 10th house of father and, the relationship with the father, you can still tell a bit of a relationship, how the relationship goes with the father. And then from the 10th house, Mercury aspects the 4th house of home. 4th house of mother's nourishment, 4th house of your homeland, your childhood emotions. So here, Mercury in the 10th house always brings his professionalism into home. Here, Mercury is just as communicative in the home, just as communicative in the career as in home. So that means when they are, let's say, bringing up their children, or when they're communicating with their people, they are very articulate in their approach. They're very, they speak with a purpose. And since from the 10th house of career, Mercury looks at the nourishment of the mother. Mother could have been a teacher. Mother could have been a counselor. If she wasn't a home wife, she definitely was in a Mercurian, or being influenced with that Mercurian energy, and she was very communicative with you. But again, if there's some other planet in the 4th house, then you have to see what this mutual energy is doing with your mom, which we'll all discuss on that. But again, the Mercury's professionalism comes into home. So they can even have a home business related to sales, media, journalism, or anything related to the Mercurian significance. Okay. So guys, this was my analysis of Mercury in the 10th house. If you're new to my channel, subscribe above, actually below. I'm still used to that because the subscribe button is below. And if you want to know where your Mercury is placed, check out the link below. Check out my book there, Astrology at the Speed of Light. And when you get the book, I will send you the link to look at your own chart. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Hey, what's up, all you chaos lovers? So make sure you rate, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And please share my channel with all your family and friends who are in love with astrology. Because I'm the man when it comes to astrology, okay? So make sure you do that. And I will see you tomorrow with another cool new video, okay? Sorry, I love my coffee spiked. Woo!